Campidoglio, dove eterno verdeggia il cappelloro, a te nostra potestà, nostro orgoglio, attende il coro.
The court will now be hearing the case of the Council of Direnár versus Duke Quentin Kazymir. But before we start, I'd like to welcome all here today to witness in this great hall of justice the full might and majesty of justice. For justice is blind and does not see class or titles. It does not see wealth or power. All are equal in the presence of justice. And today, as the Duke of Direnár is brought to trial, will be the shining example of the power and might of justice and the law. Miss Dante, you may start.
Thank you for your warm welcome, Eudex. We are here today, as you said, to witness justice's splendor, but also to witness the fall of a tyrant. Quentin Kazymir will stand trial for being an unjust, cruel, and inhuman leader. If we let him win, our nation will never progress forward. We will keep living under this tyrant, brutal and unjust. But I, Artemisia Herioska, the prosecutor and member of the council, will uncover the truth behind his crimes. I solemnly swear that I shall be righteous and just in my accusations, and I will try my best to make my case prevail.
Thank you, Madam Dante. You may call up your first witness.
Thank you. Your Honor, before calling my witness, I'd like to state the crimes the Duke has committed, if I may.
You may proceed.
Yes. The Duke failed to protect the citizens of every city under Direnár's domain, verbally and physically abused fellow council members, didn't help new citizens settle into the nation and barely provided iron, cheated on Sol Aureus and did not choose him as his favorite tailor, engaged in a fight just outside the courthouse, and has sent death threats to multiple people in multiple occasions. Miss Elenia, could you please come to the stand? Alright. Miss Elenia, as a fellow member of the Triumvirate, do you recall any aggressive behavior that was manifested by the Duke during council meetings or towards his fellow citizens? Could you make an example of some kind?
Of course.
Yeah. Yes. Miss Elenia, could you make an example of aggressive behavior?
Yes. At first, during our first council meeting, it was acting pretty normal, but I immediately noticed something was wrong. During one of our council meetings, he started verbally abusing me, and once he even left during our council meeting. Those shouting were also against innocent civilians and quickly became unmanageable.
There's your proof. And Miss, if I'm not mistaken, the Duke has already taken your life before, yes?
Yes, it's true.
Yes. I do have proof of that, Your Honor.
Objection. You have not a single piece of proof that I actually did any verbal aggression or physical abuse on fellow citizens. And until you provide the proof, you can't actually say that it's guaranteed that they did that, just because the testimony said that.
I was just about to say that I do have proof for your manslaughter. And, Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to present you the proof. If I may come up there.
Go ahead.
Here it is. The head of the witness.
With this evidence brought to me, the Duke's objection is hereby denied. You may continue, Miss Dante, if you have anything
Yes.
else to say.
Thank you. And, Miss, if I'm not mistaken, the Duke has never asked your advice for any laws or anything of the sort, advice of any kind, correct?
Yes, it's true. When we start talking about laws, he never asked for my opinion. He acted without asking me, excluding me from every function, and called me incompetent.
There it is. The proof of
Objection.
verbal.
The council has proved that it's an incompetent organ of the government, as it has not provided any political support to the actual court of Direnár.
Objection, Your Honor.
Hold on. Let him finish your objection before you object his,
Yes.
so he can actually put his point across.
As we have seen, the triumvirate has demonstrated to be an efficient government organ, as it has not provided any actual support to the decision making, as had not objected to the laws. Therefore, I say that the triumvirate has not cared enough of the nation to actually participate in its function.
Dante, your response?
Yes. Even though you call the triumvirate and the council inefficient and useless, you should have still asked before making any kind of decision, as it is stated in the Constitution, and you should have also asked if you thought that the council was so inefficient, you could have just, held a meeting with all the council members and asked to just, cancel the council directly. You shouldn't even bring this matter up, because you did something without asking the council. And as it is stated in the Constitution, decisions have to be approved by the Duke and also by the council. You didn't respect that rule. That was my objection, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Dante. As Ms. Dante has pointed out, it is constitutionally required that anything that is done in the any law or act that is passed in the kingdom has to be approved by the council. Therefore, the Duke's objection is denied once again. Now, Ms. Dante, I believe you have finished with the witness?
Yes, I finished with the witness. One more thing, though. I'd like to mention the fact that the Duke emanated the first constitutional reform without any direct approval from the council, therefore confirming what I said earlier. And this is an inconsiderate behavior, and he is actively disregarding any respect for the council and acting like a full-fledged dictator.
Thank you, Ms. Dante. Ms. Elena, if you may stay in the witness stand for a little bit more. Duke, you may begin your opening statement, and once you're done, you may question Ms. Dante's witness, if you so wish.
Yes. So, as we've seen, the council, which job was to develop part of the city together with me, has not completed its task, even remotely, as the level as my part has been done. For example, I can give you the example of the storage house, which hasn't been completed, nor if not for just for a bunch of chests placed in the side. Miss Elena, were you capable of actually building and developing the city, the medieval city part, and why haven't you, if so?
Well, it's true that it hasn't been finished yet, but it's ongoing, and since I'm right now the only one with building, I'm trying my best to actually building everything necessary, like the storage, which there are all the chests there, and a stable for animals, so that the state can be, you know, um, can have more necessity in animals. So it's actually not true that I'm not doing anything for my part of the task.
Well, as I recall, we agreed that you, Miss Dante, were charged with the job of actually putting the pavement and the sidewalk of the city. While I can recall that I and Mystic actually did most of the job there. How do you counteract that?
There weren't any possibility for us to complete the pavement, the floor for the city. But we did actually we did our part, and we are still doing it. Actually, I continued yesterday, literally. So, or some days ago. Right now, I can't remember very well. But the thing is, I am actually continuing the part, my part of the task.
You in do you know that actually there are basically no actual finished buildings here from a month, which we actually started developing the whole of the Direnár city.
Yes, I know, and I apologize for that. And we're taking our responsibility, and we will try to complete every building, even this week, it's possible. And I'm trying my best, but it's true that even if it's not finished, I am still building and doing my part, like I said before.
Alright. I have another argument on my part, which is about the corruption of the government. So, you said that the government, I am acting like a dictator. But how can I be a dictator if I actually decided to put on a constitution to the nation? How is the government corrupted? How is the government corrupted if I actually decided to give away part of my divine rights to govern to the people? And why am I here sitting in this court of justice if I was the corrupted leader?
Mr. Duke, if you may, please have the witness sit down before you can directly address Madame Dante, please.
Sorry. You can sit down. So, what we were saying, if I was a tyrant, would they have granted a constitution at all? Would have I given up my powers to rule the land?
The fact that you even address them as divine powers, it defines who you are. The fact that you addressed your powers as the Duke, as divine powers, already says something about you. That you think of yourself as an almighty ruler, as a tyrant. You want to know why I addressed you as a dictator and tyrant. Because you, who have written with us the Constitution, you decided to go directly over it by not addressing matters to the council and making decisions by yourself. Not to mention the countless abuses that have been recorded just a moment ago.
Well, as we know, homo homini lupus, which means the human is the human to another man, And the only way to actually regulate this phenomenon is actually during is actually swearing loyalty to the leader.
Your Honor,
So,
objection,
no-
if I
no-
may.
Proceed.
Yes. I do think that using a political quote of that kind also justifies your role as the tyrant here. How could you say that a man is a wolf to another man if we live in a beautiful republic? We live in this beautiful nation ruled by the council, and you say that every man needs to eat their fellow men. How could you say that? You're just saying that you believe in
Objection.
violence.
Objection.
Proceed.
I have not said that. First of all, this is not a republic. This is a duchy, which means I'm actually the duke and the ruler of the
I was
land.
wrong. Sorry.
And also, I'm saying that without a ruler, the man is always going to destroy the other. So my presence in the nation is fundamental to maintaining the peace and order of said nation.
Yes, I get that. I'm sorry if I used republic earlier. That was wrong of me. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is that you cannot go on just violating people and their rights and just being an awful leader. If you really wanted to change, you've already done so. You would have already done so, okay? But you haven't. You
Madam
haven't
Dante,
changed.
Madam Dante, if I may, regarding your original objection, your objection, Madam Dante's objection has been denied, and the Duke's objection has been sustained. You all may proceed.
Okay.
Continue.
Yes.
You can continue, Madam Dante, if you didn't finish your argument.
No, I was finished.
Okay, good.
So, we also know that I tried to develop an alliance with Danuvia, which is our closest and best neighbor, until the 50 Republicans came into power. But we all know how that went. But it's always obviously not my fault directly, as I actually tried to expand the alliance, which we tried to develop even more, not only in the political sense, but also in the economical standpoint, as we tried to actually incorporate actual economical features which will not only benefit all the members, but especially Direnár, as we really need the economical development of farms and such.
Mr. Duke, if you may call your first witness, if you please.
My cousin came all the way here to testify for me.
I suppose to go to that side over there.
Yes, you go to the witness stand. Alright, Mr. Duke, you need to address your witness. Speak to him.
Yes. First of all,
In front of him, standing.
Was I ever considered a bad leader from the Danuvia point of view? And if so, why?
So from the Danubian point of view, you were never considered a bad leader. You were always considered kind, well-mannered, and most of all fair in all rulings, even in external and internal. I heard from the other side that you committed several acts of, well, I would say violence. But I feel doubtful about those claims, as I have, in my experience with you, you've never shown any signs of aggression, be it physical or mental. And also, another claim that they made is that you were a dictator. You yourself enshrined in the Constitution the triumvirate, which is a sign, not which is a sign which just proves that you care about your people. You allowed the existence of council, which not many in this world allow, be it, my country, for example, is an absolute monarchy, the one I live in right now. And another thing is that you have said that you were the one to contribute the most to the building of Napoli, if I remember this city's name correctly. And that is from what I've heard from my now deceased brother, Frankos. He told me that this was true the case, and you were responsible for the building of such an enormous and glamorous city. So
Yes.
you were not only respected inside the Nubia, you were someone to look up to.
Also,
Your
I may
Honor.
have. Oh yeah, sorry.
Your Honor,
Are
if I
you-
may.
Are you making an objection?
Yes.
Okay, go, proceed.
Yes. The witness has stated that the Duke is regarded as a high leader, as a good leader, as a kind person. That does not negate the manslaughter that was proved to you just a few moments ago. How could you explain that? The proofs are there. There's the proof. You may
Well,
be a great leader, but that does not save you from the accusation of manslaughter.
objection.
Hold on. Actually, yeah, proceed.
Yes. The manslaughter that happened was actually an incident. It was not like made voluntarily, as there is no proof that I actually tried to kill someone in the council itself. And you may,
Voluntary or not, the killing of someone is still legally manslaughter.
well,
May I speak?
yes.
Hold on. Once we're done with this objection, as the Duke's argument has fallen pretty flat, I will sustain Madame Dante's objection and deny the Duke's objection. Duke, if you wish, you may proceed addressing your witness.
Yes. And as we recall, in our family, I was found in a random island in the ocean, and you put into power here basically. And would you say that I actually did a bad job at actually governing the land you gifted to me?
As I've stated in my previous speaking session, you were regarded as a competent leader from the start. You created the glamorous city. Your administration created the first ever constitution in the South, which is truly a sign of great governance on your part, as you were the one to write it, as far as I'm concerned. And another point which I wanted to bring up and address that to the prosecution is if there is any evidence to the manslaughter you mentioned, whether it be written, recorded, or anything else that it has proof inside it.
It is.
I just showed the head.
Yeah, it's the actual decapitated head of the murdered individual.
Do we know that it was decapitated by Mehdi?
Um,
Do we know for certain?
do we know for certain, Madame Dante?
We do know for certain. It was written.
Also,
It was written on where? By who? By whom?
It was on the head.
Oh, okay. Perfect. There it is. Very well. Mr. Duke, if you are done with your witness, Madame Dante, you are free to either address this witness or call up your second witness.
If I may, Your Honor, I'd like to call up Madame Elenia again to talk about her assassination.
Very well.
Miss Elenia, could you recall the events that led up to your assassination?
After a disagreement, he decided to behave me, and yeah, I can remember everything really well, but it was after a big disagreement. And instead of trying to talk in a pacific way, he decided instead to kill me and behead me.
There it is. The testimony said she said it loud and clear. After a disagreement, do you remember what the disagreement was by any chance?
If I can remember really well, but it was during we listed our law, I think. So it was about that, and like we said before, it was never down here to talk to me about laws. He decided everything alone. So
Yes, thank you. And there we have it. The testimony that the Duke has not only killed voluntarily a fellow member of the council, but also the testimony that he never wanted to agree or dispute anything with the council over politics. He always took decisions by himself and himself only.
Very well. If you're finished with your witness, you may call up your second witness.
So, do you recall any aggressive behavior that was made by the Duke towards you directly or indirectly towards fellow citizens?
Not personally, no.
Any general threats that were made or any discontent that the citizens have towards the Duke?
Did refuse to supply any enchants or supplies of the sort.
So
Objection.
negating any.
You may proceed.
Yes, I remember clearly going to Dripturna and specifically one stack of iron blocks to Helios. So the fact that she said that I haven't given supplies to the city itself is obviously false.
Madam Helios, is what he's saying true?
I did receive a block of iron. However, that is not what I ever requested from you. I requested the following list. I requested moss blocks, driftleaf, azalea, vines, bamboo, and cactus. I received none of these from you.
Mr. Duke, did you at least attempt to provide any of those items, and please answer truthfully.
I swear, I solemnly swear to tell the whole truth as it is, and I can guarantee that I have not supplied any of the listed materials to Helios. However, if I remember correctly, I remember telling Helios that there was bamboo in a chest in Direnár itself.
I
Very
never was able to find the supposed bamboo you told me about.
well. Your response?
If someone else took it, it's not my responsibility anymore. I provided what I could, and it got taken from someone, apparently.
Very well. Your objection is denied, since while you did tell her about the bamboo, you did not take any specific attempt at helping her find the bamboo or helping her acquire any of the other listed materials. Madam Dante, if you wish to continue addressing the witness, you may.
I'm finished, Your Honor.
Very well. Madam Helio, since you technically have already been addressed by the Duke, you may go back to your seat.
Thank you.
Madam Dante, you may provide your finishing statement.
Yes, Your Honor. With this testimony, my accusations are finished, and I think it's time for a new dawn to rise in our beautiful nation. The Duke must suffer for his actions. No leader of this kind should be allowed to keep living such a peaceful life after committing such outrageous crimes. And to all the citizens of Direnár, I hope I was able to properly convey your feelings with my words. And you shall never live under a tyrant again. My duty has been fulfilled, Your Honor. I'm finished.
Very well. Thank you, Madam Dante. It was a pleasure having you here today. Mr. Duke, your finishing statement, please.
Although it may seem that I failed as a duke and as a leader of this nation, I must say that all the work that has been done by me personally on the city, on the capital, and whatever it may happen to me next. Remember that I actually developed most of the city and developed these court we are actually doing my trial in, and the constitution itself was released by me, the duke, whoever you are accusing of these incriminous crimes.
Very well, Mr. Duke. We were pleased to have you here today, and we acknowledge and thank you for all you have done for the duchy. If I may, I'd like to have the jury on the stands back there. If you may type out in chat your personal verdict. Though it will not be my verdict will be final. It will be will help with my opinion. That's a guilty verdict from Fifi. That's a guilty verdict from Scarlet. Vita. Oh, that's a guilty verdict from Vita. He DM'd me. Okay. That was a unanimous guilty verdict, which so happens to be also my verdict. Mr. Duke, you are hereby declared guilty on all accusations brought forth against you, and you shall be punished by death sentence. We all may meet back at the guillotine not too far away from the courthouse. This trial is dismissed.
I'm sad that it has come to this point in my life to lose another family member like this. Not by illness or any other misfortune, but by the court of justice, which I will say again was nothing more than a sham, a Republican plot to kill the Kazymir family, to bring it to its extinction, to bring the beautiful system of monarchy, its glamorous state, to extinction. And I will say this now, if Direnár falls to the same plot of republicanism that Danubia fell to, it will collapse just like its brother did to the north. And to Mehdi, I hope that in afterlife you will live on the memories of all people here, whether it be good or bad. Come here. Give me a hug. One final hug.
I have
I
to
love
say
you.
something as well. As we know, Pax est querenda, which means that peace has to be preferred to war. So I hope that with my death, peace will still prevail in the heart of the older Diren people. I hope that everyone will still prefer peace over war, and everyone can still live in peace in the whole of Cinder. Thank you and goodbye.
Off with his head.